Hey Northwood Academy students, I'm Jordan Combs, the Executive Director of Light of Mine Ranch, and we are so thankful that you guys are helping us out on your Missions Month and helping other organizations as well, and we can't wait to see how God uses you to make a huge impact in all the different things going on in the world. Our organization is all the way out in Rapid City, South Dakota, and I know that you probably have a ton of questions, one of which being, where in the world is Rapid City, South Dakota? Well, first of all, South Dakota is in the very middle of the United States. It is a little bit up north, but it's still considered the Midwest. And Rapid City is on the very far western side of South Dakota. We're really known for having Mount Rushmore, and my house is actually really close to Mount Rushmore. We also have a really cool area in our downtown where each corner of every street has a statue of a president. It really is an awesome place to live, and it'd be a great place to come on a field trip. Another thing you might be wondering is, what in the world is foster care? So foster care is when the police or Child Protective Services gets a report that parents are not taking very good care of their children. And so they show up at the house, and a lot of times they see things that are not very good at all. And they decide that it's not safe for the child. And so they have to remove the child from the home and place them with a foster family. Now, this isn't just like children that wanted candy but didn't get it, or didn't like eating broccoli for dinner. This is very serious stuff that is really sad. And oftentimes kids are left alone for days without food, without showers, without brushing their teeth. Kids grow up from the time they're born to 4 or 5 years old with no doctor's appointments or no dentist appointments. And so a lot of times their teeth are rotting, and their hair has lice in it and bugs, and they're dirty, and it's just really sad. And so they decide it is not safe. They need to remove the kids, and they need to get the parents help so that they can get their life back on track. And so, like I said, the child that's removed has to go live with a foster family whose job is to take care of them and keep them safe, raise them like their own child until the parents either change and get better and get help and the child can go back to their home, or sometimes the child just can't ever go back, and so they get adopted or they get placed with family members where they can spend the rest of their life with that family and they can be safe. So as you can imagine, that could be a really scary time for a child. I mean, if you think about waking up and the police are at your house, and then there's other people at your house, and next thing you know, they're taking you somewhere, and you show up at some other family's house, and that other family starts taking you to school and taking you to the doctor and giving you food, sometimes things that you've never ever had or seen before. And so it can be really scary for a child. And it can be really hard and challenging for the next couple of years of that child's life. At the same time, it can be really hard for foster families too. Now, they know what they're getting into, but at the same time, it's a lot different having a child in your house that you haven't known before. A lot of times there's other kids involved, maybe your own kids, or other foster kids, and so it could be a real challenge. When children come into foster care, a lot of times they could have been from a home that looked pretty similar to something like this. And at the same time, a lot of times they show up and they're only carrying this. And then other times, depending on the situation, a child might have to leave all of their belongings at home. And so they only show up with whatever they got from Child Protective Services, or some of you may have heard of DSS, which is the Department of Social Services. And so they might come with a bag that has a toothbrush, maybe just an outfit, maybe just one toy, and that's all that they come with. In South Dakota, there are 1,200 kids in foster care. in the whole state. And in the United States of America, there are 400,000 children in foster care. That is a lot of kids. My wife and I have been foster parents for the last 5 years, and we have had over 30 different children come and stay with us. And so that means that for a short amount of time, or even a couple years, our own children have had 30 different brothers and sisters through the years. Being in foster care can be really hard, and being a foster parent can be really hard too. And so that is why we started our organization, Light of Mine Ranch, to help support foster families and the kids in foster care. Kids will often say that foster care was the worst experience of their life. And if you think about what they had to go through to get there and what it was like being away from their families, I could totally understand that. But we want children to know what it feels like to have unconditional love, just like the love that Christ gives us. And so we want to be there for the child and make sure that foster care ends up being the best experience that the child ever had, where they felt supported and loved and valued. And our organization has done a lot of different things to connect with community and connect with foster families and make sure that kids are well taken care of. We've given out clothes and toys and books and bicycles, and we've worked with other companies to get kids in free to things like our dinosaur museum and our reptile zoo. And we just continue to do things all throughout the year, whether it's taking kids ice fishing that have never been fishing, or giving them free ice skating lessons, or getting free jingle dresses for some of the girls that are Native Americans. And so they have a lot of cultural things that they miss out on when they're in foster care, and we don't want that to happen either. And so even through all that we've been doing, even from the very beginning, we felt like God had put a much bigger dream on our heart. And that dream is to build homes for foster families on a ranch where the families can be 100% supported and can pour into the children and truly make them a priority, and that we could get involved in the community where the community looks and does the same thing, and so that children can grow up in Christian homes with love and support, and know that no matter where their journey takes them, they'll always have the love and support from their families at Light of Mine Ranch, and that they could go off and succeed in life and share Christ with others. Throughout this journey, we've got a lot of different questions from people, like wondering if we're with Child Protective Services, or if we're with DSS, or if we're with Native Americans, or if we belong when doing this for a particular church in our area. And then there are a lot of people that get very, very upset when you start talking about foster care and the idea of taking kids from their families. There's so much brokenness that goes on in the foster care system, whether it's through the state or the foster families themselves or the homes the children came from or the culture. But despite all of these things, we want people to know that we're for the Lord, and we're doing what we feel like God asked us to do in the Bible, what He asked us specifically to do as people, and that is to take care of children that are vulnerable and can't fight for themselves and need justice. I'm sure by now you know and understand that God wants us to help the needy, that God wants us to help the orphans and the widows and the poor and the hungry and people that can't help themselves. And I hope you do that as you grow, and I know you guys are doing that now for your missions month. And I just wanted to share something with you that might be a little bit different than what you've heard, but I hope it sticks with you for a really long time. I want you to think for a minute about how, as you grow, your life is going to be filled with so many different decisions to make, so many hopes and dreams, and how there will always be people there asking you questions and wanting to know where you stand and whose side are you on and why are you helping these people or why are you helping those people, and a lot of times they'll try to persuade you one way or the other that this is the right answer or that you should follow this person. And I just think it's really important that we as Christians know that we stand with Christ and we stand with the truth that's in the Bible, and that we don't have to fall into the traps of the world and all of the different ideas that are going around and constantly changing, and that we have truth in the Bible and that we can stand firm on that. And I wanted to share this verse with you in Joshua chapter 5. It is right around the time where the Israelites are about to take down Jericho. And I'm sure you've heard that story. They march around the city, the walls fall down. But before they got to that point, Joshua was there. He had his army prepared for battle, and he knew that there was another army that they were going to have to battle. And in the middle of all this, an angel shows up to Joshua. And this is what it says in Joshua chapter 5. Now when Joshua was near Jericho, he looked up and saw a man standing in front of him with a drawn sword in his hand. Joshua went up to him and asked, "Are you for us or for our enemies?" "Neither," he replied, "but as commander of the army of the Lord I have now come." Then Joshua fell face down to the ground in reverence and asked him, "What message does my Lord have for his servant?" So in this particular moment, it seems like there's this side that Joshua's on, where God told him, "You're going to take this land." And there's this other side where it's the people that own the land that want to battle against him. And this angel comes down. And if you think about it, it's kind of a silly question, right? Because Joshua is for the Lord and he sees a warrior angel. And he asks him, "What side are you on? Are you on my side, Joshua's side? Or are you on the Canaanite side, the other side?" And the angel says neither, right? And so the angel is in a way saying to Joshua that there is a third side. There's not just two, there's a third side. And the third side is the Lord's side, because he is the commander of the Lord's army. And so, as I said, as you continue to grow, as you continue to chase your hopes and dreams and help those in need, just remember whose side you're on. You're on the Lord's side. And there might be people that are trying to attack you, and there might be people that are trying to persuade you, but we have truth and we are fighting for the Lord. And I'm so glad that he's on our side, and I want to be on his side my whole life, and I hope you do too. Once again, I want to thank you so much for helping our organization, for helping children in foster care, for helping foster families. I hope you learned a little bit about what it's like for foster families, for kids in foster care, how hard it can really be, and how important it is that we share the unconditional love of Christ with them. I just want to encourage you to be on God's side and to do your very best, and I can't wait to see how he uses you to make a huge impact in Rapid City, even all the way from South Carolina. So I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much, and go Chargers.